Okay, so over the summer you received the Hidden Curriculum episode 1, and this is our episode 2. We are going to be discussing the role that academic advisors play with your career here, what you need to succeed, registration, and some campus resources. So, academic advisors, we have a little bit of a different structure here in the School of Engineering. If you have any friends that are in different schools, they might be already meeting with a faculty advisor. But for you in this first year, you have your hub advisor, and that is me. If you change your major to a different role in engineering, you might meet with a different advisor, such as Kelly here. But we are here to support you during your first year and only your first year. So, what we do is we generally will assist you with all things academic throughout that first year. We discuss your curriculum requirements, what classes you should choose. And one of the bigger things that we work on throughout this first year is your 4 years plan of study. And basically, what that is you lay out all of your courses semester by semester right through graduation based off of any credits that you've brought to the Institute, any kind of minors or focuses that you want to do. We assist you with that. So then when you transition over to your faculty advisor, it's a little bit more streamlined, and then you can have more meaningful conversations with them about studying abroad, planning for arch and undergrad research and career roles. So we kind of partner in that dynamic in order to get the logistics out of the way so you can have a bigger conversation with your faculty advisor. So this is my team. Obviously, we do advise different majors, as I mentioned. So if you were to switch to a different major, you might be meeting with someone different in the hub. But we all are a team who support all of our students. So you might have met some of us over the summer while you were doing your summer registration. Kelly and Kim are new to our team, so likely you didn't meet with them just yet, but there's always a chance on a walk-in Wednesday. If you were to attend, you might meet with one of them as well. So again, this is my contact information. My office is in the JEC, and I prefer email, but if you do have quick questions, you can always connect with me on WebEx as well. Our office is open from 9 to noon, and then again from 1 to 4, Monday through Friday. We do not work weekends. So if you do email us or connect with us via WebEx on a weekend, there's a good chance you won't get a response until that following Monday. But by all means, book appointments with me. I generally prefer, WebEx, but we are going to be transitioning to in-person appointments soon. So if you do want to schedule an in-person meeting, just put that in the note when you schedule your WebEx meeting. Now, Wednesdays we have walk-ins, and those are exclusively virtual. So where is the hub? We're smack in the middle of campus. So if you look for the Johnson Engineering Center, anybody who's in CAD this semester, they generally are right down the hall from us. So if you look for the Ansel Lounge, our office is embedded in the Ansel Lounge. And the Ansel Lounge is kind of a cool place to study, so you should take advantage of the space. It's operational during the same hours that the hub is. And just some pictures of our office. Now, like I said, we have been virtual for quite some time just because of COVID, but because we're starting to open up again, we will be hosting in-person programming probably in the spring semester in that lounge. So it's kind of a cool space, and it's a great place for everybody to kind of get together. So we'll talk a little bit about our advising roles. I have responsibilities and you as students have responsibilities. So it's important for us to know exactly what role each of us play. So my role is basically to support you in any capacity with anything academic. So if you have any concerns about your courses, if you want to know what a minor would consist of, if you have Haas questions, if there's anything at all, I want you to come to me. And if it's a bigger question, like maybe you are struggling a bit, I can point you in the direction of resources and also counseling. So if there are any issues, I've even had students come and talk to me about roommate issues. And together we can work through some issues. Obviously, I'm not Res Life, but I do have connections across campus that I could potentially assist you with any issue that arises. So during this first year, you can consider me your number one resource. I also want to prepare you for a working relationship for your faculty advisor. They're a little different. They operate differently than the hub advisors do. So it's important to know the differences between the two. And I want to make sure that you know your curricular plan because it's so important that you know at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what anybody else says, it's you that needs to know what you need to do to graduate. So that's what our primary focus is during this first year. Now, what is your role? You are going to complete and review that 4-year plan with me. So that's something that you and I will work on starting this semester, but really more focused on spring because I want to get a baseline of what you thought your first semester was like. Because I think that that's going to give us a little bit more of an indication on how we would proceed going forward. We also want to make sure any credits that you have, dual enrollment, APs, all of those have finally hit the Institute. So that's another thing that we would address. And I want to make sure that you also, if you're booking a meeting with me, show up. And if you don't show up, you cancel or you email me to let me know that something changed. It's also your responsibility to let me know if you're struggling academically. I have a lot of resources that I can help with, and there's things that I can do as an advisor to assist with process, whether it's talking about dropping a course, a pass no credit, all of those crazy things that happen all come through me. So, and I'm not a mind reader. So if I don't know that you're struggling, I can't help you. So it's really it's on you to get in touch with me. If I get EWS alerts and I email you and say, "Hey, you want to talk about this?" Take me up on it. I'm not going to chastise you in any capacity. It's to find a solution to help you succeed more efficiently. So let's talk a little bit more about what you need to succeed. And we always survey students, especially our work study students, to give them, give words of wisdom. And I think that a lot of these are really helpful. There is a balancing act that comes through on your first year where you have to figure out the work life and play balance. We all do it throughout life, and college is when you really learn that balancing act. So let's talk about developing strategies. The biggest thing, and I think this is still a challenge for me, is efficient time management skills. We really need to set aside efficient time to study. A lot of you didn't need to study in high school, and college is a little bit of a different game. So if you need help with that, that's another reason to book a meeting with your advisor because we can talk about all of those things. Obviously, finding motivation to go to class is something that we would need to do. Mom's not around to wake you up in the morning, and if you have an 8 a.m., it's not always easy to get to class. So there's different things that we could talk about that might make that a little easier for you. And also, we talked about academic integrity in one of the last programs. And that's another thing that we really need to reiterate. There's certain courses that take that very seriously, and you should take it very seriously as an engineer. And then these are like advice from mom, but they hold true. Like get sleep, make sure you're eating. And yes, that includes vegetables. Call home, play outside as like a kid, but you also need to study like legit. So that's something that definitely needs to be prioritized. And we encourage you to get involved with clubs on campus, but don't overcommit because if you're committed to those things, you might neglect your studies at home. And also another thing that's really helpful is get to know your teachers because if they don't know you and you're in a class of 80 students and you don't show up or you have an issue, they're not going to really connect with you if they don't know who you are. So make it a point to go to office hours, make it a point to sit in the front and kind of pay attention and show that you're actually interested in the content that they're teaching. And if you can't do those things, maybe you're a little nervous, when you email, you want to make sure that you conduct yourself professionally. Now, these are a little while ago. None of these are from this past summer, so don't worry about that. But these are examples of some of the emails that we receive. And it's kind of crazy because we are a professional office. And if I get an email that says, "What's the long math block on a Wednesday?" and it's full of grammatical errors and nobody signs this, do you think it's going to warrant a response? Those are the biggest challenges that we have in our office. We would love to support you efficiently and quickly. However, if you don't sign your name to an email and address it appropriately, it kind of goes to the bottom of the pile. And your faculty advisors might not even put it on a pile at all. They might throw it right in the garbage. So be sure when you're conducting yourself, even on WebEx, even if you've had a chain of emails, say hello. Don't just write a statement. It's not a text message, it is an email. And one of the other things that we really encourage you to do is to set up a signature in your email. So then at least you don't even have to think about it, it's already there. So those things are really important. And abbreviations are fine if you're texting a friend, but try not to use them when you're addressing faculty and staff because some of us are old and might not understand what they are. And also, it just gives a different air to your message. We really want to be professional because all through life, you are going to be communicating electronically with colleagues and, potential, if you're, petitioning for a job, you want to make sure you're conducting yourself appropriately. So having this practice now is super important. Again, obviously, Kristen, who is a colleague in my office, made these slides, and this is a pet peeve of hers. So we put 3 slides in to reiterate, include your name. Okay. So now we're going to talk about developing strategies for success. So generally, my meetings are, let's check in with one another. If you feel overwhelmed, come see me. Every course has a syllabus. Make sure you review those. And if there are issues, I want you to definitely connect. I mean, I can't say it enough. I am here and I am happy to meet with any issue that may come up. You also want to build a routine, and that's something that's hard to do in the first semester because you're still getting your rhythm here. So if you're looking for pointers, you can always talk to upperclassmen, and my office is here to support you as well. Some of the resources that I give during my meetings, if you're talking about potential minors and integrative pathways for Haas, the online course catalog is super helpful when you're navigating those. It gives you all the information that you need. And it's also your contract. Anything that appears in the catalog is generally what you will follow during your 4 years here. So make sure you're looking at the catalog 22-23 for your school year. Now, your transcript is something that if you did dual enrollment or if you're planning on taking summer courses, you will be using external transcripts, but we here at RPI have a transcript where you can monitor your course progress. You also, like I mentioned, have a syllabus that you get for every single class. So it's good to have a calendar where you can put your quiz dates, your test dates, any homework that's due. And networking, like I said, get to know your faculty, get to know me, get to know even upperclassmen, because all of those things will provide you with critical information that you'll need to succeed here. So the other thing too that comes up when you're in college is sometimes you might have classes or test exams in the same day. If you end up having 3 exams in one day, that's another reason to get in touch with me. We generally, and that includes final exams as well. We generally discourage 3 exams, and we can talk to you about how you can navigate that and talk to your professors to see if you can have an alternate date. 2 exams are generally a common occurrence. Obviously, it's not ideal, but with your proper time management, it's definitely something you can navigate. We also have drop-in tutoring with ALAC. I don't know how many students have utilized that at this point, but generally all of the first year courses offer drop-in tutoring sessions, and they're from 8 to 10 in the library, so they shouldn't conflict with any of your existing courses. And like I said, get some sleep. I know that all-nighters are a thing and that especially if you feel like you're behind, but making time for sleep allows your brain to function and actually retain the information it's learned. So it's super important. And eat, don't go crazy with the power drinks. So as I mentioned, ALAC, we also have learning assistants in every residence hall. And I'm going to email these slides to you, so don't feel like you're going to miss anything if you don't write it down. But we do have LAs, and they're another resource available to you. And they will be able to, it's kind of like peer mentoring where they can tell you exactly what they've done and kind of help you navigate any troubles that you have right where you live. So it's very helpful to have them as a resource. And as I mentioned, we also have the drop-in tutoring. Johnny said that ALAC was really helpful, and Johnny just graduated and is on his way to med school. So obviously he used the resources here and is doing amazing in his after career here from RPI. So as I mentioned, here are our learning assistants. I will be emailing this out. Try to look to see where you live and see who that person might be and see if you've connected with them at this point. If you haven't, you do want to prioritize that because these students were hand selected. They're super helpful and notably very smart. So they are somebody who will be able to guide you with any additional questions or resources you need. We also offer a different additional resources on campus. ComD, which is over in our library, it's our writing center. So if you wanted to have critique on a paper, at any paper, I mean, I think even staff can utilize it. It's something that I encourage, especially engineers, to do because I know writing is not something that generally engineers enjoy. So having additional assistance with that is always helpful. And ALAC does have outreach. They're the ones who facilitate those early warning system alerts if there's an issue with a course or a professor has concerns about how you're performing. Those are all generated through ALAC. And ALAC is also an advising office that can provide additional support beyond your first year. So let's go over some more resources on campus. So we have Academy Hall, and students ask me where Academy Hall is all the time. I think the easiest way to explain it would be directly across the street from Moe's, since I'm sure you've all frequented there at least once at this point. FYE, which is your class dean, is also in that office. ALAC is in that office. And we also have financial aid and the bursars. They're all in Academy Hall. So that's something that you definitely can, that office is something you should frequent quite often. We also have FYE, which I mentioned is in Academy Hall. Janelle Fayette or Maria Roberts, those are your class deans. And if you have any issues with bigger problems, like you need a leave of absence or you need an excused absence because your grandmother died and you need to leave campus, that is an office that you would connect with. But if you did have questions and you're not sure where to go, you can always start with me and I would assist you with that process. We also have the Health and Counseling Center, which is in Academy Hall. And obviously, health, if you're sick, that is a place that you can go to for assistance. They do have COVID testing there as well. But the Counseling Center is also a good support system. College is hard. And if you're feeling like you're struggling emotionally, if you're anxious, if you're depressed, all of those things can be addressed through our counseling center, but they also will give you some tips and pointers on how to be a successful student. So it doesn't, there should be no stigma in seeking out any assistance through the counseling center because they pretty much help with everything. And I feel like they are very helpful. And you can actually book an appointment with them right on their site. So it's not something that you even have to call to make an arrangement for. And then we have our clubs on campus. Obviously, we encourage you to attend clubs and see what's interesting to you. I know we had a club fair back in September, and we're hopefully going to have some programming with clubs this coming semester to get you more familiar with the popular clubs that engineers pursue. Greek life is a great way to connect with students and to kind of form some alliances. And again, you're dealing with older upperclassmen that might be able to assist you academically through those programs. Athletics, big part of, we have club athletics. It doesn't have to be that you're on a specific team, but the club sports are great. And we also offer fitness classes. So that is something else you can look into. And all of those clubs and organizations are funneled through the student union. So if you do have questions about how to connect, you can always reach out to me and I can set you up with that. Now, as far as academic stuff is concerned, we highly encourage everybody to pursue URPs or independent studies. Now, URP stands for Undergrad Research Project. It's never too early to start having those connections with faculty. They're generally the one who would sponsor you for any research. And depending on your major, you can definitely get credit for research, but you actually could apply those credits towards certain course requirements, depending on your major. So that's something that you'll want to talk to me about if you're interested. And I can also explain to you how I generally advise students to just start making those connections with faculty. If you like your IEA professor, for example, or your ECSE professor, start talking to them about research because we are a research institute. Generally, a majority of our faculty do research and pick up students at all stages of the game. You can also volunteer and internships and co-ops. Granted, that generally happens during our Arch Away semester because we carve out a semester specific that you can pursue internships and co-ops, but preparing for those at this time is never a bad idea. We had a career fair last month, and we will have another career fair sponsored by the Career Center in February. So attend, even if you don't think you'll be able to get a summer internship per se. It's good to understand the mechanism of the program. You could start picking up business cards, you could start dropping resumes, just have those conversations because as you do it more, it becomes easier. I remember my first time going to a career fair and I was terrified. And now they're social engagements for me. They're fun, and they should be for you soon too. The other piece is our campus is located in Troy, as you know, and there's some pretty cool happenings in Troy. And we have shuttle services that'll take you downtown. There's really cool restaurants. There's usually live music happening. We have the farmers market. All of those things we really encourage you to explore. So grab your friends on a Saturday and head downtown. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about registration. So at this point, October 2022, you should be planning for spring. Registration will open in November, and generally freshmen will register, I think, around November 17th, unless you brought to the Institute a ton of credits, which bumped you into a different category. Within the next week or two, your time ticket will be updated on SIS in order to show exactly what window will open for you. So if you're registering at 8 a.m. on the 17th, you're going to want to prioritize that time because you know what it was like in summer, classes fill up quickly. And if you have questions about what courses you plan to choose for spring, this is the time that you would want to set up a meeting with me. I'm happy to talk about it. For my civil engineers, for example, I have a tendency to advise students to go a little bit off template. So if you want to have that conversation with me, you definitely want to book a meeting with me sooner than the 17th of November. And my calendar does fill up kind of quick. So I would advise you to do it sooner than later. And we gave you the Excel sheets for planning your 4-year plan. So this is what you're going to do. You update the first 2 semesters with your intended courses. And then when we meet in spring, we basically finish that plan and we go right through semester 8. So a couple of important deadlines that are coming up. For those of you who have not done Honor the Code, whether you attended one of the sessions that happened or if you did the online version, that is due by It's actually Monday, but that's okay. Either way, I will update you on the deadline for that. The drop deadline is the 21st. And then November, we have a couple of other, like I said, registration opens on the 7th, but you will likely register on the 17th. And then it closes on the Monday, the 21st. We also have a pass no credit deadline. Pass no credit is when we take the grade away from your class. The only courses that are really eligible for pass no credit are electives. So like we can't pass no credit IEA or calculus. But if you do have a course that you are questioning whether or not you could pass no credit, that's something you'd want to meet with me about. The last day of classes is December 9th, and that will be here before you even know it. We do have also, November break where we go on Thanksgiving break around the 23rd. So we're going to keep you updated on all of these deadlines via email, and also if you signed up for text alerts, you should be receiving those as well. So my final notes is basically do what you can to survive, but also remember that we do provide you a lot of resources. I know that the first semester is always a little hairy. It might not be a shining semester for you grade-wise as you become acclimated to college, and that's okay. We are going to work together to get you up and running and to get you to be a successful student before you graduate from here. So again, get to know your faculty, get involved in campus, and get in touch with me. And here we go. Do we have any questions?
I have a question. It looks like someone does too, but
Okay.
what is a SAM meeting, and is that happening this semester or next semester?
Good question, Kelly. Thank you. So your SAM meeting is your student advisor meeting. It is a requirement that you meet every spring with your advisor. So for this spring, it will be with me. And then next semester or next year, next spring, will be with your faculty advisor. And your faculty advisor is going to be an advisor that is specific to your major. So every year, you're going to bring your plan of study to a SAM meeting, and you're going to say, this is what I intend to take next semester. These are the questions I have. You're definitely going to want to prepare for a SAM meeting. Now, with me, I'm a little more flexible because it's going to be your first one. So I'll give you the tips and pointers. But generally, when you're meeting with your faculty, you want to prepare for that meeting because they're short on time. They want to know that you have it together. And if you don't, you also explain to them what your concerns are. And Miles, you had a question about a 1 credit course. It depends on the course. What course specifically are you inquiring about? Engineering communications. Okay, so here's the deal with CAD communications and also for my civil and environmental civil graphics CAD. If you look in the footnotes of any of your templates, engineering communications can be pass no credited. However, because you have to take it as a curricular requirement, you would be forced to take one of the alternate CAD courses and get a letter grade for it. So for example, if you have the option between engineering communications and engineering graphics for CAD, if you pass no credit engineering communications, you'll get the credit if you pass and it won't have an impact on your GPA, but you will be required to take engineering graphics and CAD in a future semester to fulfill the course requirement. Engineering communications would become a free elective.